Chris, we're here at Scottish Language Dictionaries today to discuss this braw new book of Scots Grammar that you've put together. So, why a book in Scots Grammar? What's its title and what's it going to do?
It's cried a Modren Scots Grammar, and the subtitle is Working with Words, because it's about the way you put words together.
Mm-hmm.
It's like looking under the bonnet of a car. We're looking under the bonnet of the lead and trying to work out what way it works.
I like your analogy of the car bonnet there and the car engine, because it seems to me that the people have they can see they use Scots language every day. Folk use this thing called Scots every day, but I don't think if you asked them to go, as if you asked them to go under the bonnet of the car, you know, they wouldn't ken where to start. They can see the sum of the parts, but they really, most folk didn't have a grasp of how they parts fit together and who they work. So how will this book able to do that for folk?
It looks at sentence structure. It looks at things like tenses and what way you express the future. It'll give them more precision. Can you ken what way it works? You can avoid some of the mistakes, get rid of ambiguities, just in general be a better screever.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think a lot of folk took time to look at the detail of language.
Mm-hmm.
You'll ken yourself as a poet. Poetry is nae just sentiment sicked onto a page.
Mm-hmm.
It's crafted, it's worked at, it's polished, and some folk ken the way to do that naturally. It's just inborn. But other folk get on an awful lot better if they're telt the ins and outs of it. It can give that improvement in writing to people that make no do it naturally.
Aye, well, I mean, there's a lot of folk would say that young folk aren't given the kind of degree of knowledge that previous generations had in dealing with grammar. Now, going round the skills, teachers seem to have been crying out for something that'll help them to get a grasp in Scots and how to use it in Scots grammar. And what you seem to have put together here is the toolkit, the toolkit that will give them the tools in order to let the teachers and the wains themselves start to use Scots in a more confident manner.
That's the intention. It's nae always easy. There's bits of it that are challenging. It'll make you think. It starts off easy enough, but it does get quite challenging towards the middle and the end. But I think that's a good thing.
What actually is in the book then? I mean, can you give us an example of some of the kind of things that wains and adults alike can both utilise and use? A few examples of what they're going to be reading here.
Well, starting off at the beginning, nouns, plural nouns. There's twa differences between Scots and English.
Because it seemed to me that Scots, for a lot of folk, was for a long time, it was dismissed as some kind of slang or bad English. It is not that, because when we go back far enough into English, even in English, they pronounced the word house as hoose. And will there be other examples of words like that have evolved?
Words like bricht and nicht, they're Old English as well. And what's happened is that some things have changed in English and stayed the same in Scots, stayed the old way in Scots. Other things have changed in Scots and stayed the old way in English. The different histories, the different contacts with other languages, that's built up the Scots vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
And whilst you get wee influences in the grammar as well, for the likes of Gaelic, he's guy old getting.
Mm-hmm.
So the twa histories of the twa nations, he driven the leads up Bert as well as.
Mm-hmm. But I suppose, the things we'd be saying here is that even though Scots and English have aye been kind of sib to ane another, they're closely related, but they are equally independent. They are independent languages, and one's no better than the other. These are just two different languages that he evolved differently, and each manages to retain its own grammar. And this book you have produced as a Scots Grammar sets out the Scots Grammar.
Aye, and there's a fair lot to it that's just the same as English. But we'll look at some of the differences as well. It looks at the whole thing. It doesn't compare it with English. It doesn't compare it really with any other language. It treats Scots grammar as the grammar o a lead in its own recht.